Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to another Fallout 4 mod review, and today we've got a fun new weapon mod. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have what is essentially just a tube that could take AK mags? Well, that's what we're checking out today with the Vargo 52, otherwise known as the Vahan Assault Rifle by Cadaver, and this mod is really cool, adding a nice new retro assault rifle into Fallout 4, definitely very fitting of the style of Fallout weapons, with some nice customization features over at the weapons workbench, and of course some really cool custom animations. Now, the Vahan assault rifle, what this weapon is actually based off of in real life, was a Soviet-Armenian weapon designed in 1952 but never reached full production, which just sounds like the lore behind every single weapon in Fallout, at least most of the real-life weapons used in the franchise. It has a similar story to other weapons in the franchise like the Pancor Jackhammer and the G11. But this one is definitely a lot more reasonable, and I really like the design of this weapon. It's super cool, super retro, and honestly just fits the aesthetic of Fallout so very much. With this weapon, you are not going to get leveled list integration, but instead you'll have to craft it over at the chemistry station. Sadly, that is a bit of a shame because I would like to see this thing out in the world on enemies, though I do understand why it's only craftable, as this is a pretty rare weapon and you wouldn't see it scattered around the US. Though with some alternate history in the Fallout timeline, maybe it's possible, so hopefully we'll see a leveled list patch sometime soon. If not, it isn't too hard to do it yourself in Fallout 4 Edit. Now, I know I said that this weapon has custom animations, but you are going to have to download them separately. It uses the right-handed Nuka World AK animations by Hitman, and you will have to download it in order for this to work. Sadly, it is not built into the mod directly, but it's just a simple download to make it all work nice and smooth. I think that's most of the big stuff. Let's go ahead and hop in game and check out the stats of this weapon as well as some of its other neat little features. So here we have the Vahan assault rifle, known as the Vargo 52 in game, and these are the most basic attachments you can get on this thing. With these, it has a base damage of 23. It is chambered in 5.56, though I believe the real life version is chambered in 5.45 by 39, and it may even have some 7.62 variants. It has a fire rate of 113 and is only available in fully automatic, which I do like for a dedicated assault rifle role. It has a range of 191, an accuracy of 66, a weight of a whopping 12 pounds, and a value of 222 caps. And I just absolutely adore the model for this thing. It looks super cool and super Fallout. Now then, since this thing does utilize Hitman's right-handed AK animations, let's go ahead and check them out and see how they fit on the weapon, starting with firing and reloading. Now, usually there isn't much to talk about in this section, it's usually just me oohing and awing over the cool animations, but there are a couple of important things we can learn here. First of all, this weapon has some incredible recoil. So you're actually going to have to fight the weapon a little bit to stay on target. That was the weapon firing on its own, here is me actually trying to control said recoil. So yeah, it is pretty crazy. Not only supreme vertical recoil, but pretty horizontal recoil as well. Another thing is this weapon does actually have included foregrip attachments, though because it's using Hitman's animations, we don't actually have an animation to hold said foregrip. So you're going to hold it regularly, but the foregrips do look pretty cool, so they're still there as an option. Alright, now it is time to move on over to the weapons workbench where we can check out some of the attachments you can add to this thing. And for the most part, this weapon will remain an assault rifle. You can't do too much to it, though the attachments that are here are pretty nice. So let's go ahead and start with the most basic version and see what we have. For the receivers, everything is going to be fully automatic. There are no semi versions of the receiver, and the most basic version is the automatic receiver with a base damage of 23, and the best one is the powerful automatic with a base damage of 45, so almost double. For the barrels, we have the standard factory barrel, we have the integrated suppressor, and the integrated suppressor with a laser sight attached, which looks really cool. For stocks, we have the standard option for no stock with the factory grip. We also have no stock with an AK grip, factory stock and factory grip, and the factory stock and AK grip. From there, we can go to the magazines, where we have the factory magazine, again chambered in 5.56. Then we have a rechamber to 7.62. And then we also have a drum magazine in 5.56 as well. For sights, we have the standard iron sights, the Night R sight, the Seymour sight, the Cobra sight, the Spectre DR, and the medium scope. And with some playtesting, I will say the medium scope may not be worth it. This thing is always fully automatic and the recoil is insane, and it has some pretty massive weapon sway, so this probably isn't the best use of this rifle. For muzzles, we have the standard muzzle, a compensator, an oil filter suppressor, and a regular suppressor. For the underbarrels, we have the option to add on a laser sight or a flashlight. And then for foregrips, we have the option for no foregrip, the wooden foregrip, or the polymer foregrip. Now then, for today's damage test, we are keeping it pretty simple. Since this weapon is only available in fully automatic, we're just going to test the standard receiver and the powerful receiver. And depending on how these performs, we may do a third test with perks, but it completely depends. So with a base damage of, I believe it was 23, yep, this thing should perform pretty well using 30 round magazines. Let's see how it does, aiming for the Deathclaw's weak point. Not too shabby. So yeah, this thing holds up pretty well, pretty strong for the standard receiver, though the hardest thing was actually keeping that on target. If I was to just let the recoil go, we would be shooting at the ceiling in no time. Pretty interesting. Let's see how the powerful version does. My guess is it's going to kill it in less than one magazine. And I would be correct. In 19 bullets, that Deathclaw is down. And those weren't all hitting the weak point, as again, the recoil on this thing is pretty insane. Okay, so upon further inspection, there actually is one more test I want to run because I think this thing has the potential to be very, very powerful. You may even say overpowered. And I'm not sure that the high recoil is going to be enough to balance it. One thing I saw is that when you head over to the magazine section, you can actually get even more damage by switching over to 7.62. And then on top of that, if we were to throw on the maximum commando perk, I think this thing can get to some insane damages. And I would be correct. As you can see, with all of the maxed out perks, if we grab our 7.62 variant, we get up to a maximum damage of 110. Keeping in mind, this thing is in full auto. That's with full commando perk and full bloody mess perk. This thing is pretty insane. Let's test this out on a Deathclaw, and I have a feeling that this thing might be a bit OP. So here we are in front of our final Deathclaw to see what this insane damage with all of the perks can actually do. My guess is that this Deathclaw is going to go down really, really fast. But I wasn't expecting it to be that fast. In only 6 shots, that Deathclaw is down. That is absolutely crazy. So yeah, guys, that is the Vargo 52 Assault Rifle, a pretty cool new weapon mod. Definitely are some things I would love to see added eventually, like some leveled list integration, but it is all still really, really cool. If you want to try out this mod for yourself, it will be linked down in the description below as always. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to drop a rating, subscribe if you haven't already for more videos just like this. Consider checking out the Patreon if you are interested, though it is completely optional, and big shout out to all of my existing patrons. With that, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace!